Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel. And the LeBron 18 has been leaked and I don't really know what to think about it. So we have some tech specs about it. Nike has released an article about it, you know, like the design explaining like what the shoe is and what the technology is, which is pretty cool. And we have some pictures of LeBron actually wearing the shoe. So they're not really like official pictures or anything, and so I'm gonna need to speak on the aesthetics of the shoe when I see the official pictures, or maybe when I get it in hand. So as far as the release date goes, it says we don't have an exact release date, but it says it's gonna release beginning in September. So it's like what, July, August, September. That's like a month and a half. So this is a drawing of the shoe, but it's what the designer designed, and of course that's before the actual production process. And of course from this picture or from this drawing you can see that they're using Air Max again. Woo, yeah, I'm super excited. Not really, I mean, it wasn't horrible. Like I'm not a huge fan of Air Max, but we'll get into the actual technology. So that is the actual drawing, and here's some like concept drawings that they also released, which is pretty cool. The designer said he wanted to keep the front of the shoe or the forefoot like very quick, but then, you know, since LeBron's old or he's getting older, the back of the shoe is gonna be for like comfort and a lot of like impact protection, stuff like that. So that's why the shoe has like a different aesthetic. Like the front half looks different than the back, you know. And here the concept drawings look pretty dope. We can see that, you know, he's working with different counters in the forefoot with like the swoosh and stuff like that. And another thing that I noticed is there's absolutely no swoosh on the shoe, which makes me sad. I miss this, you know, having a big swoosh on the shoes. But then starting from, I guess, the 15, there's absolutely no swoosh besides here in the heel counter. And you never really see this, right? And then of course 16 and 17, there's really no swoosh either. It's just a really small backward swoosh right here on 17. I don't know, do you guys miss that aesthetic? Or do you guys like it just like with no swoosh? Okay, and it says here, power in the back, which, okay, and then speed in the front. Here is an actual picture of LeBron in the shoe, and I don't know guys, I don't like it. There's this like little tassel on it, which is weird. Let's read some of y'all's comments. Your comments are pretty funny. So Dr. Cole Ryan 1968 says, looks like a freaking grandma's kitchen curtain. BCLO24, I need some more colors, but right now it's a nah. And a lot of you guys, like looking from the comments, didn't seem to like this shoe. There were a few comments that liked it, but a majority of them, you guys weren't a fan. So yeah, I don't know. I don't like the knit pattern all too much. They're saying it's a new type of battle knit, which we'll get into. And that tongue, look at how high the tongue goes. That's a little overkill, I would say, and it looks super thin. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of, you know, thick plush tongues, kind of like in the Zoom Freak ones. But you know, this one, it doesn't look like there's any type of padding in the tongue, and also it's not really like a one booty upper. Like the LeBron 15 was entirely one booty. The LeBron 16 was, I don't know, what would you call this? I guess it is a one booty upper, but then there is like a tongue, you know, this flap tongue, which I really like. It made the shoe really easy to put on. The 17 had a tongue though, you know. And here's some other pictures. But yeah, like I guess these different angles make it look a little bit better. So let's go over the technology. So it says here, the 18 comes with a new cushioning arrangement. An Air Max unit in the heel is augmented by a full-length Zoom Air bag, which is awesome. They've actually, I don't think they've ever done this, you know, having an Air Max unit and then a Zoom bag, or I guess like a full-length Zoom bag. And usually it's just Air Max, and that's all you get. And then usually it's like a foam in between. So you really never feel anything underneath your foot as far as like step and comfort goes, or underfoot cushioning. So it says here, the two are integrated with one another, the Zoom airbag extending into the heel cavity and replacing what was previously foam. So yeah, I guess, is there no foam in it? I guess not. Like in the forefoot, that looks like just all rubber, right? It doesn't look like it's foam, you know, kind of like here. You know how they separate the Zoom from your foot? You know, they have a little bit of foam here. It does, maybe it's not, I can't really tell. The picture isn't very good quality, but also in like drawing, it looks like the rubber also just extends up. So maybe it's just your foot, and then the full-length Zoom unit, which is gonna be awesome, and then the Air Max unit, which is awesome because, you know, the foam actually adds a lot of like height. And in all of LeBron shoes, you feel high up off the ground and the court feel isn't that good. And the cushioning is really good as far as like impact protection. You get maximum cushioning from your shoes, but you really usually don't get good court feel. So hopefully with this type of setup, you're getting a little bit more court feel than I guess comparing to like the 17. The 17 was absolutely insane. It's as well as the 16 and the 15. It was just too much. It was too high up off the ground. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be good for court feel because there is that Air Max unit in the heel. But hopefully it's a little bit better than the 17. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about the cushioning setup. And like the LeBron 17, you know, they did a good job. They increased the PSI so that it wasn't too soft or anything. There was a little bit of a bounce and a little bit of a compression as well. But of course, I would prefer either Zoom or just like a foam. You know, I'm not a huge fan of Air Max in basketball shoes. You know what they should have done though? Maybe to make it a little bit more awesome is use Joyride, right? That would have been insane. And also, they're using a new type of knit, which they always say. You know, the 15N Battle Knit, and then this is Battle Knit 2.0, but it's pretty much the same stuff, right? But anyways, it says the LeBron line has long been a canvas for innovative knit constructions within Nike basketball footwear. For the 18, the upper follows a special recipe. There's the raised dimension from the 15's Battle Knit, the high tenacity yarns from the 16, and the TPU yarns that compose the 17's exoskeleton, which I think is like this part here in the heel. You know, I guess kind of worked. You don't really need this all too much. The 15 and 16 were fine for me. But it says here, the result is a new knit combination that's lightweight and durable, fit to withstand the forces generated by James. Which, you know, it's always been like that. They always say that. You'll also see in the upper how we integrated a cable-inspired rib cage. They reach all the way down into the footbed, allowing this macro support system to work with the knit. And that is pretty dope. You guys can see, just looks like lines, and it looks a lot like the Dame 7s. Like you guys see these lines in the Dame 7 upper. It kind of goes into like a triangle though. It looks like there's 3 triangles on the lateral side of the shoe, but it just literally looks like more stitching. That's literally what it looks like to me. But it says there's like cables, and you guys can see that there is some flywire on the shoe as well. And it says here, which was really interesting to me, there are more expressions of air. So also new to the 18 is the translation of max air on the upper, replacing the tongue foam with non-pressurized air pockets. It's a subtle reframing of material use, an experiment in sensation and comfort, and it's an opportunity to flash pops of color through socks. Whatever the effect, the addition connects to an affinity for air that's followed James through his signature shoe history. So if you look on the tongue, like they said, it is clear like Air Max is. So, you know, if you wear like different colored socks, you can see that through the tongue, which I think is really cool. It's especially for aesthetics. So maybe these air pockets will make up for the fact that this tongue looks super thin, you know? Like I said, I like to have a well-padded tongue. And I just really like to have like a comfortable, cozy feeling right here on top of my foot where the tongue is. So hopefully that replaces the feeling of that, you know, with these air pockets. But then it looks super small, you know, and it looks like there's only like a few, like 3 or 4 pockets that are like pretty thin. So I'm very interested to see how that would feel on the foot. And also, of course, they have like a little part on the traction. A focus on improves the ride and more efficient movement works its way into the traction through generative design. The forefoot is divided into quadrants with thin siping. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. I've never heard that word before. Broadening as you move toward the heel for a stricter grid warp, at which point the traction softens. The transition allows each area of the foot to benefit from the appropriate traction properties. No space is wasted. Yeah, they always say stuff like this about the traction, but you know, of course, we'll have to test it out and see how the actual rubber compound reacts with the wood floor, right? I mean, okay, so aesthetically, I don't know, we'll have to see. Because like the leaked pictures, I'm not a huge fan of, but we'll have to see until the actual official pictures come out. My favorite aesthetically out of all of these right now is either the 15 or the 16. These are incredible looking shoes, and the performance wasn't bad. The 16 is probably one of my favorites out of this entire batch of shoes. But one thing that kind of disappoints me, is the weight. Like they didn't really say anything about reducing weight on LeBron's shoes, and that's just something that I haven't really liked about LeBron's shoe. You know, like it's just too much for me. It's super high up off the ground. Court feel isn't good, and the shoe is very heavy and bulky. So that's why I don't really like playing LeBrons as much as like any other shoe. So I mean, like let's take a look at the weight. Like the average weight for all of his shoes is probably around 15 ounces, which is insane. So the LeBron 12 is 14.36. The 13 is what? 13.12. This is actually one of the lightest shoes, if I remember correctly. And the LeBron 14 is like 14.29. The 15 is probably like 15 ounces. Yeah, 15 ounces on the dot. The 16, 15.59 ounces. Super heavy. And the 17 also I think is pretty damn heavy. Yeah, 15.87 ounces. So yeah, I mean, I guess the 13 is, you know, they did a good job with this, but the materials weren't nice. Like, it's just too stiff, you know? And, you know, remember from the Jordan 33 to the 34, how it was super heavy in the 33, and that was a complaint like a lot of people had. And then 34, they just shed off so much weight, which was awesome, and they made the material super thin. I understand that it's LeBron, and LeBron, you know, he puts a lot of torque in his shoes, and he needs a lot of support. But like, you know, I feel like they could shed off a good amount of weight from his shoes. But if they reduced the weight, they would have said something. You know what I'm saying? So I'm speculating here, but I feel like the LeBron 17 is probably going to be around like 15, 16 ounces. And of course, I don't think they're ever going to make a light LeBron shoe. Which you know, LeBron's super strong. I don't really think he cares about the weight of his shoe. He just wants more support, I think, and cushioning. And that's just been something that's been in his line, you know, in every single shoe. Just a little sneak peek for you guys. There are some more leaks on the Dame 7, and yeah, like a lot of you guys were saying it looks like the Dame 6, which I agree with. That's not a bad thing. The Dame 6 wasn't a horrible looking shoe. We can see that they're using Light Strike, which I'm super happy about. The outsole looks exactly like the Why Not 0.3 as far as the pattern goes. And they're using it looks like a mesh material. And I'm not sure about the aesthetics of these lines, you know? So overall, aesthetically, I'm not a huge fan of right now. But of course, I don't really care about that as much as performance. And there are a lot of shoes coming out. The Zoom Freak 2 is basically coming out in a couple of days. So yeah, tell us what you guys think of the LeBron 18 aesthetically. And are you guys excited for that full-length Zoom unit with that Air Max unit in the heel? Like, do you guys like Air Max? And as far as the consistency of the performance of LeBron's signature shoes, do you guys like his bulkier, heavier shoes with a lot of support and cushioning? Like, do you prefer that? Or do you prefer like a KD or the Zoom Freak one, which was like super minimal with less cushioning? But anyways, that about wraps the video up. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.